Alright, y'all, got me big old coon hide here. We're gonna do a soft tan on them. I want to show you how to split the ears on them. Alright. And so what I like to do is get me a pretty sharp razor blade. I think I'm gonna get another one. That's kind of old. These are these hyper tough razor blades, but they kind of ain't worth the crap. But they'll do for what we're doing right now. I gotta get some different brands or something. But I do like them because they're big, good to hold on to. But so yeah, we're gonna split the ears, and we do this because we don't want hard ears. You know, we don't want to tan it and that cartilage be dried up, and it will to an extent. I mean, you know, we can remove the cartilage or we can thin down the cartilage. I like to just thin it down real quick. That seems to help. One thing I like to do is get on a table, and I just got 2 pins right there holding it down. That way I can pull up on it. All right, get a little tension on there. All right, so first thing I like to do, I hope it ain't gonna be too hard for y'all to see me. I've got it fleshed all the way up to the head. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I've still got all this membrane around this ear, so I like to get, you know, go out an inch, half inch, whatever you want to do. Pinch some of that membrane and pull it up, and just kind of work it back towards that ear. And what that's going to do is it's going to expose where the ear starts and where the separation actually is from the ear and its center, like the center of the ear. So we want to work around this cartilage here, or this membrane up to this ear. And so right here, let's see, you can see that there's something going on. All right, that's going to be the start of that cartilage, and this is where you see where I started back here and I worked my way up, and now I can see that separation right there. All right, so that's what you're looking for when you do this. Okay, and now we just keep on separating. Take your time when you're doing this. This is pretty, you know, it's a pretty tedious little task here. Thing about these little critters like this is if you're trying to do a thorough job on them so you get the best quality hide you can possibly get, it can be pretty detailed, pretty tedious. I don't like the faces to be hard on mine. I like to really clean them up. Get a better tan that way, and you ain't got all that meat on there and all that stuff. I like to get all the cartilage out of the nose and everything like that. Let me turn this thing around. And just that way, I ain't got a hard nose, ain't got hard ears, ain't got a hard head on this thing. We want the whole thing to be soft. All right. So now, as soon as as you pull on that ear butt, you just look for any separation. But see what we've got now? We've got the ear completely exposed. Okay. And so what you want to do is you can flip that ear out. All right. And the cartilage is going to be stuck on this inside. This outside is going to break free of that cartilage. So you know the cartilage is going to be right here. So now that you've identified that, push it back in. And now we know that the cartilage is over here and we're breaking it from this side. And this is where that seam is going to be, right there on the outside. So that's the, that's the back of the ear right here. It's on the outside. So we want to break that cartilage free. So that seam right there, all you do is grab that earbud and get to pulling, and you can see right here, you know, those white fibers that expose themselves as you pull. You just go around, you start cutting them. Start cutting right there at that seam. You just take it slow and easy. 100 different ways to do this. I just prefer, like, when you go like this, you can pull on it and see all I'm doing. You see how that's catching right there? Just cut it just gently. Give it a little couple cuts, however many it takes. 100 different ways to do this. It's all preference, you know, whatever you want to do. Now, one thing I like to do is I like to clean up the inside butt that's going to be closest to your eye, on the side of your eye. Clean that up, and I cut off all the inner part of the ear. I will take and cut that off, because it ain't nothing that I want. You know, it ain't even really got fur on it. You can put it inside, outside. That's just that inner part of that ear. I just don't want that on there. Doesn't need to be on there. Okay, so now what you have is it's totally open now, so I can get my finger up in there. That's what you want. When you get that finger up in there, you see that? You can pull on it real good then. Pull on it real good. And then this thing will really start pulling apart. You know, having something to hold the end of that hide down there, that really helps. Just get your finger in there, start working it, and you can start seeing, let me see here. Right in here, you can see the edge of that cartilage. You don't want to mess with that down here no more. You know, once you find the edge of that cartilage, just stay away from there and keep working that tip, and come back around and find your other edge, and then just work your way up to the tip of the ear. I'm gonna come back around and find this other edge. The way I do that, I'll put my finger in there and kind of pull. And I'll just work around where that skin's pulling. It'll expose itself and show you. Just take your time. It's gonna take you however long it takes you. No big deal. I wouldn't even start working on a hide unless I knew I had time to do it. Okay, and so this side, you know, it's very faint. Once you start going and you get to where it's like super blue like that, you go ahead and stop, because that cartilage is real thin. So, you know, we don't want to push it and cut a slit through our ear there. So now, you know, we're about halfway through now. So I can just continue to work that ear. And when you do this, like, you know, if you're pickling, doing anything like that, you know, you want salt to get to the back of this ear, because I've had them to where the backs of the ears slipped, and the hair slipped on it, and that ain't a very good look. And so we'll flip it back around. You know, you can think that, you know, that's done, but it ain't. It might look done. What you can do is just take your finger, stick it in there, and we got about that much to go. And if you try to get your finger in there and push on it, this thin little hide right here, probably gonna end up busted on you. Yeah, just keep working that thing. It'll come undone. Just don't give up. sure there's people out there a heck of a lot faster than this is me. I just want to make sure that I'm getting a good job on it. You see how I'm doing that hide? You don't necessarily have to go all the way to the tip, but you want to get pretty close. I believe I've made it. I believe. Because you're going to get to a point, like right there. See, I've cut through that cartilage. It's so thin. But I don't want to split the top or nothing like that. So I'm going to call that good. And so the side of your cartilage, it's got fat and stuff all on it. And so you can take that razor blade, even with your finger in there, because you got that cartilage, put a little pressure on it, and just kind of scrape that stuff off. Make sure you ain't going through that cartilage too much. And you can actually cut it off. I mean, you can actually cut that cartilage out of there. You just gotta be real careful, because that skin underneath that cartilage is super thick. Like, that's cartilage right there. Bam. See? That blue is the skin. So you can take that thicker cartilage off by doing this. And so you're still gonna have some hard parts in your ears, but it ain't gonna be near as hard. So right here, I'm just putting my hand on the hide, pushing my finger forward, and I'm having some resistance there. Yeah, so if you're doing this, make sure you don't, if you cut through the cartilage and you go through the skin, I mean, you're gonna cut your finger. You don't want to do that, so you gotta be careful. You're just working. I mean, you can stick something in there too, if you don't feel comfortable doing it like this. Stick the end of a channel lock handles in there, something like that. And we're just kind of scraping that stuff off. See how all that's coming off right there? Getting it cleaned up. Stuff like that ain't skin, so it's gonna rot. So it's gotta go. And the salt might cure it, whatever, but I'm just showing you how to get the most out of your critter. Like I said, 100 different ways to do this. I'm showing you mine. And I'm down to learn too, so if you got any pointers, just let me know. That's one ear right there. Got it cleaned up and split. That's how you split an ear.